My marriage hit a wall a few months back. You know, I've been in Atlanta visiting my brother. I chose to go to Atlanta because, of course, Martell and I have children together, so it's important. While I do need time and space away, it is still also important for me to be, in an area or a distance that's not too far so that there's not an issue when it comes to exchanging the kids and custody and things of that nature.
After the court delivered its final decision in Melody's favor, Martell Holt could not hold back his emotions. The man who once walked with confidence, always camera-ready, suddenly found himself breaking down. For years, Martell carried himself as if he were the leading star of a polished story. Sharp suits, bright smiles, and the certainty of someone who believed he had everything under control. When Love and Marriage Huntsville first hit screens, many saw him as part of a power couple. He and Melody were more than just business partners. They built homes, created a brand, and looked like the perfect example of success.
Get the out!
But there's still certain things we need to talk about.
No, go, and keep going.
You talking like that.
Yeah, no,
I don't want my kids to be around that.
Get out.
And every time Martell Holt does something, Melody, she runs social media and put my out there, but I haven't done that.
Their real estate company, combined with their strong presence on television, gave fans the image of a flawless duo. But reality often works differently. When someone puts too much effort into playing a role, real life eventually steps in and reveals the truth. Martell's decline was not sudden. It had been unfolding quietly for years. The court's most recent ruling only confirmed what many had suspected, that his life had been spiraling long before cameras stopped rolling. By August 2025, the Madison County Circuit Court made it official. Martell wasn't just a man who cheated on his wife or created drama for TV ratings. He now carried the label of someone found guilty of domestic violence and harassment twice. This was no longer gossip. It wasn't just whispers from social media or edited storylines. These were official court records, black and white proof of behavior that could no longer be brushed aside. And perhaps the most shocking part? Martell didn't even fight it this time.
Considering all the things that have gone on both sides of the fence, Melody and myself, I really don't see Melody and I ever getting back together. And I just see who Melody really is, because I feel that her heart, for real, her heart isn't good.
He had the chance to choose honesty after his first conviction in May 2024 in Huntsville's municipal court. Instead, he gambled by appealing, hoping he could overturn the outcome. More than a year later, he once again pleaded guilty. The cycle repeated itself. Another conviction, another stain that could not be erased. On paper, the sentence may not have looked severe. No contact with Melody, fines, probation, and a suspended 30-day jail term. But the impact of this conviction went far beyond paperwork. Timing made everything worse. All of this happened only months before an important custody trial, one that would determine whether Martell could see his children without supervision. In Alabama family courts, a domestic violence conviction is devastating for any parent. It doesn't just look bad, it destroys credibility. Judges weigh such records heavily when deciding what is best for children, and Melody knew this.
Right, well, Love and Marriage Huntsville TV star Martell Holt was recently arrested for domestic violence. The 42-year-old was booked into the Madison County Jail last night. Holt was charged with third-degree domestic violence and harassing communications.
She had been waiting patiently, dealing with years of courtrooms, online attacks, and the public collapse of her marriage, all while raising 4 children largely on her own. Every time Martell lost his temper, whether on the show, Instagram, or in legal filings, it only reinforced the image of a man who couldn't let go of control. To both the judge and the public, he looked like someone who posed a risk rather than a stable co-parent. With October 15th approaching, the date of the custody hearing, Martell's chances grew weaker by the day. It wasn't only about losing an appeal, it was about his repeated choices. Twice, he admitted guilt rather than face full trials. That decision alone spoke volumes. And at the same time, Martell was losing something else: control over his story. Once admired as a visionary husband and businessman, he was now seen as a warning sign, an example of how pride and resentment can destroy everything.
Are y'all still going through this, man? What do you think the problem is?
I don't...
Martell.
She don't want nobody seeing that she's actually working with me in terms of effective co-parenting. She don't want nobody to see that. She don't want nobody to see that she's being nice or cool with me. It gotta be. What else could it be? One thing about I'm trying to stay peaceful. No, because I don't mess up your peace. I don't say anything wrong. I don't do anything wrong. It's all about the kids. She can call my phone and talk to the kids whenever, and I don't have a number to call my kids when they're with her. I just want her to do right.
For years, Martell had defenders, fans who believed he was misunderstood or unfairly portrayed. But even loyal supporters began to pull back. They were tired of excuses, tired of drama, and exhausted by the damage. What mattered most was no longer Martell himself, it was his children. Would they grow up in a peaceful environment or in constant chaos? Would their memories be of laughter at home or endless court battles? Melody fought not just for herself, but for their future, while Martell's last chances slipped away. His fall wasn't the result of one mistake. It was years of decisions built on pride, denial, and refusal to take accountability. The affair was the turning point, but not just because it was unfaithful. It was long-term, public, and humiliating. Instead of seeking forgiveness through action, Martell leaned into the drama, claiming he was misunderstood. After the divorce, things only worsened. Co-parenting should have been a chance to rebuild stability. Instead, Martell made it nearly impossible. Court documents revealed patterns, missed payments, controlling behavior, and constant attempts to pull Melody back under his control. Even her businesses and music became targets of his pettiness. By June 2024, the courts were running out of patience. Martell was warned his visitation could be suspended if he failed to comply. He was also ordered to pay $7,000 in legal fees. That wasn't just financial pressure, it was a clear signal that the system had had enough. By October, another ruling went against him. Melody walked away with another victory, while his counterclaims were dismissed. Patterns were becoming undeniable. Viewers realized the show only showed part of the story. The courts were revealing the rest. And with 2 guilty pleas now confirmed, Martell's reputation took a permanent hit. Alabama family courts treat domestic violence seriously. Even harassment convictions weigh heavily when children are involved. Judges are trained to prioritize safety and emotional health, not appearances. And on every front, Melody entered the courtroom with momentum. Each ruling in her favor, each dismissal of Martell's claims, each document proving her stability, all of it strengthened her position. Outside of court, public perception only made her stronger. Brands, opportunities, and fan support gravitated toward her. Meanwhile, Martell's reputation crumbled. His personal life also became a mess. Since his split with Melody, his relationships were brief, messy, and often public. Women who entered his life sometimes left, confirming his reputation for unpredictability. Rather than rebuilding, Martell repeated the same patterns over and over. Financially, things looked grim. Legal fees, fines, child support, and court costs weighed him down. Reality TV checks could only stretch so far, and with his name tied to toxicity, business opportunities began to vanish. Martell was not just losing fans, he was losing income, stability, and credibility all at once. When Love and Marriage Huntsville began, Martell and Melody represented the blueprint for Black excellence, a thriving business, 4 children, and an inspiring public image. But behind the curtain, the foundation was already cracked. The affair revealed just how deep those cracks ran. For Melody, the pain was raw and public, but she turned it into strength. She built her own path, embraced independence, and transformed her suffering into purpose. fans connected with her resilience. For Martell, redemption remained out of reach. He wanted forgiveness without accountability, grace without growth. Co-parenting could have been a path to healing, but his focus remained on control of the story, of Melody, sometimes even of the children. That obsession became his undoing in court. Judges see patterns, and when those patterns match convictions and no contact orders, consequences are inevitable. While Martell clung to control, Melody moved forward. She grew from her pain, used victories in court and business to rewrite her image, and refused to play into his drama. That quiet strength gave her an edge, not just in public opinion, but in the legal arena. The upcoming custody trial is not just another date. It represents years of mistakes stacked against Martell. Even if he manages to hold on to some visitation, it will likely come with strict limits, supervised visits, counseling, and more oversight from the court. For Martell, the greatest pain may be realizing this is no longer about image or perception. It's about legacy. The man who once built houses cannot build peace within his own family. The camera no longer flatters him, it exposes him. Every outburst, every failed appeal, every confirmed rumor chips away at the myth he tried to maintain. Meanwhile, Melody has stepped into her own light, not as his ex, but as a leader, a mother, and a brand in her own right. At this point, Martell cannot erase the past. Court rulings and guilty pleas will remain on record. The only option left is true change, not through PR moves, but through accountability and transformation. The window is closing quickly. Because in the end, this story isn't about TV ratings. It's about children. It's about breaking cycles. It's about deciding whether the future will look different from the past. Martell still has a chance to change, but time is running out. And even if he fails, life will continue without him. The show may go on. Melody will keep rising. The children will grow. But Martell risks being remembered not for what he built, but for what he destroyed. Martell's story is more than drama. It's a lesson about choices, accountability, and legacy. Melody rises while he struggles, and the future rests with their children. What do you think about this downfall? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more updates.